It's not Trevor Lawrence. We're going to leave Trevor Lawrence for another day. But
You don't even need to talk about Trevor Lawrence. Everybody knows Trevor Lawrence. He's going to the
He's
Jags.
so good.
He's good. You know,
He
he's
would have
going to have
he would have been the first overall draft pick 2 years ago when Kyler was the
Yeah.
first overall draft pick, not Joe Burrow. He would have been the first overall draft pick when Joe Burrow was a draft pick.
Yeah.
He would have been the first overall draft pick for all these years because he's that good.
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll leave him for another episode. The other one is the guy that's rumored to go second overall. Maybe he's not the second best quarterback. That's up for debate. Maybe that's another episode also. But I'm just teasing all you guys here. But it is one Mr. Zach Wilson. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the picture there now. But it's Mr. Zach Wilson. This guy looks like your high school quarterback. He's got the headband on. He's got the hair blown out the top.
high school.
Yeah.
Dude looks like he's in junior high. What is he, 8?
Oh my God. So he's got, people talk about him having a crazy arm. So he's played for BYU for 3 years. He's 6'3". He's 210. He's so small.
And he doesn't look it.
No. He's, like I said, he plays well. So as a freshman, for him, quarterbacks went with actual stats. We kind of talked about a bunch of positions that didn't have a whole lot of stats, but as a freshman, he's played 9 games, 182 attempts for almost 1,600 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Okay. Next year, same thing, 9 games, 319 attempts, 23 or almost 2,400 yards, 11 TDs, 9 interceptions. So he kind of took a little bit of a step back that year. And then this year, in all 12 games, he put up went 247 for 336 on a 336 attempts. That's 73.5% completion percentage. Almost 3,700 yards. He's 36.92, 33 touchdowns, three interceptions. And his yards,
not bad.
His yards per attempt were 11 yards per attempt. So this guy, they got him hyped up. They're like, look, this guy is the next Aaron Rodgers. Look at all the ways he can throw the ball, which this guy is super impressive. He does have all those ridiculous arm angles. Like he'll do the underhand, the underhand side throw. He'll kind of do like the off balance throw. He does all of it. Now people say he's got this crazy arm. I don't think he's got like a cannon of arm. Like you can't compare him to a Patrick Mahomes, to an Aaron Rodgers. And once again,
Allen.
We talked about this with when it came to, Parsons, when we're talking about, can't compare him to Luke Kuechly and all these guys. Yeah. Because those guys are ridiculous at their position. Right. I did find like a couple of his balls like kind of died off early, even on the deep balls. He throws a beautiful deep ball. Don't get me wrong, but I found some of it kind of died off. But like I said, he's got all the flashy plays. And I think as a team, as a fan of this guy's, you're going to be like, holy crap, this guy, I get to watch this guy every day. This is so exciting. This is so good that I get to watch this guy play and just watch the stuff. It's like a Matthew Stafford and other guys like that, where it's like, oh, so you can bend your arm that way and make that throw? Because you're like, then you start trying to think like, could I throw? No, I can't throw a ball like that. So he's got all those arm angles. Same thing for him. I tried to watch a couple of his games, trying to get an idea on him, because the main thing about him is the man was never pressured. So it's hard to kind of evaluate this guy because he had such a good pocket for all these things. He threw a lot of screen passes. He threw a lot of open passes. Now, is it open because it's just the defense? Is it open because he's throwing them open? It's a little bit of both, right? And it's not a bad thing that your guy's seeing the open receiver either. Don't get me wrong, but there are spots where it's just like, oh, there's nobody within 10 yards of that guy. Yeah, that's, but that was a Tom Brady thing forever with the Patriots, right? It's like, Tom Brady's, they're scheming it up so that Tom Brady is throwing to wide open guys. Sue the guy for hitting a wide open receiver.
Yeah.
Like, guess
the
what?
Alabama thing too.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that can't do that, by the way, in the league, and that's why they're not NFL quarterbacks.
I.e. Carson Wentz.
Hey, he's going to come back this year.
He's not.
I have hope.
No, he's not.
Frank Reich. I think side note on him, this guy right here, right second. I think Doug Peterson is an absolute stooge. I think he's a terrible head coach, and I think every good thing about that Super Bowl run was done through Frank Reich. And when Frank Reich left, that's when that whole franchise went down the shitter. Mark my words, Carson Wentz is a top 10 quarterback this year. Nailing it.
Oh, okay. My God.
Anyways, on to the next. That's my hot take today.
Somebody watches the Pat McAfee show.
No. Pat McAfee talks shit about him. I actually liked him. Anyways, so I watched him against Coastal Carolina. So this is like 3/4 of the way through the season. Both teams are 9-0. This is the big game of the year. Coastal Carolina is obviously not a big school, but they played really good. Coastal Carolina was about the only team that actually gave them, troubles when it came to pressures. Now his stat line wasn't terrible. He was 19 for 30 for 240 yards, 1 TD, had an interception, but the interception came at the end of the half when he was just like throwing it up, trying to like make a play at the end of the half. I don't count that. That's like Philip Rivers 101 for like just trying to throw it up to make a play at the end of the game. But like I said, so 1 interception, it is what it is. 10 rushes for 35 yards. He had decent moments. 1 rushing touchdown. He has to go down. You hear it all the time. Justin Herbert had that issue at the start of the year. I think in Justin Herbert's first game, he like was going out of bounds and took on a linebacker from the Kansas City Chiefs like head on.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm like, oh God, please go down. Just slide, go to bounds early, lose the extra 1 or 2 yards.
Do something else than what you just did.
Yeah, guess what? It's the first quarter. You don't need to get yourself murdered by a dumb linebacker here that's kind of just wants to posterize you. So he's got like I said, he's got all these passes. He's like, I have notes for that game. He was crazy pass across the body, lots of open passes in zone. Will definitely give his receivers a chance too. So he'll throw it up and say like, look, you're one-on-one with that guy. Hey, I'm throwing it up. I'm going to throw it to where you got to catch it. You got to catch it, but it's going to be in the right spot. Like he is accurate when it comes to a lot of that stuff, but he's not afraid to throw it. And like I said, he only threw 3 interceptions. Now, how much of that is his receivers actually being very good and, being able to come down with that stuff? That all matters, obviously. But I found when he was pressured, which, by the way, in the NFL, you're going to be pressured more than what you are at BYU.
Especially with the Jets.
Especially with the Jets. You got Becton there on the left side.
And that's
right side, you don't got anybody, by the way.
Yeah.
I think they have a guy that used to play for the Broncos. He's not very good.
George Fant.
That's exactly who it is. He's terrible.
Yeah.
But you wonder why Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. By the way, get ready to see some ghosts here, Zach. Yeah. But like I said, under pressure, I found he was inaccurate. He was throwing off, like I said, and not that he's bad on the run, because a lot of times he does get out of the pocket, i.e. a Patrick Mahomes, i.e. name a mobile quarterback or a racing quarterback that's good, right? They all get out of the pocket and they're all good. But it's different when you're deciding that you want to roll out that way. It's different when you have 5 yards between you and the defender to make that work. Zach Wilson, when he was under pressure, though, I found he was like, the ball was all over the place and he had some issues. So it's going to be kind of different to see how he adjusts to playing in a system in the NFL where you're not going to have the most time to throw. Like I said, a lot of the other tape, it's easier to see. Like you're playing against, they played against Boise at one point. He put up 21 for 27 for 359 yards, 2 TDs. He had an end zone fade. Could have been a little bit higher, whatever. And I put even like that one, maybe an NFL INT because he kind of just lobbed it up there. Loves his comeback. So like he loves the guys running 10, 15 yards, and like he throws with anticipation. So it's what you want to see in an NFL quarterback. You want to see the guy throw his guy open. Like he's letting the ball go. The guy's not even out of his route yet. Like he's throwing comebacks. The guy's still running down the field. It's out of his arms, out of his arm. And then after it gets 5 yards in the air, now the receiver's turning to come back and catch the ball, right? So it's the things you want to see. Super talented. Other than that, same thing I found against San Diego. I say he struggled when being pressured and was a little bit reckless. I thought he could have had at least 3 interceptions in that game. He had none. 26 for 35 for 303 and 3 touchdowns. Once again, I'm trying to talk bad about these stat lines. It's kind of freaking hard, by the way, when the guy throws 33 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. But that game alone, I thought he could have had 3 interceptions. But he does throw with anticipation. And like I said, I just find when he's pressured, he kind of holds that ball, tries to get through the little stuff, goes down. Like he's not trying to like bull rush through guys or something like that, but he doesn't have the body for it, right? He doesn't have that Josh Allen, that Justin Herbert, that, insert big, broad quarterback in here. He doesn't have that size to be able to do that, right? Like Josh Allen, the guy's a fucking human bowling ball. He just like bounces through all these guys. Like good on you, Radon. You got a quarterback, your first one since Jim Kelly essentially, but
pretty much. But it's working.
Yeah, but you just have that, like I said, super talented guy though. Like I don't really have a whole lot bad to say about him. It's just because you've never seen it. But it's just going to be, how does this guy react to pressure? And can he hold up? But if it's just like the talent the guy has, how he can throw the ball with different angles, all that stuff, the guy's going to be elite. He's probably going to make Pro Bowls. He's probably going to make some really electric plays in the playoffs if they ever get there. He's got the potential to be really good. And like I said, is he the second best quarterback? Should he be taken off the board that early? Maybe he should be the third. Maybe another guy out of Ohio State should be the second overall pick. But that's another debate. Both of them, like I said, I think they both do things very well. I think Zach Wilson throws a little more anticipation than Justin Fields. Like I said, but at the end of the day, it's funny that the draft starts at 2. That's the easiest way to put this draft, is the draft starts at 2.
The draft starts at 4.
Yeah.
I think it's Jack. I think it's Lawrence, it's Wilson, it's Mac Jones, and then it starts at 4. And I think Zach Wilson has all the intangibles to be a great player in his second contract with his second team, and it's nothing against him.
Yeah,
it's just the Jets, and some teams are just perennial losers, and the Browns have been that forever. You look at hockey, the Oilers have been that forever. The Jacksonville Jaguars have been that forever. Yep. Now, the Jets have gone out. They went and got Robert Saleh, who was that is a culture change.
Yeah, because Adam Gase is an idiot who's sitting there and gazing out of his eyes. Like
if Sam Darnold was traded to the Panthers, I don't know why. That, to me, that's a legit lateral move for Carolina. I don't understand it. But if Sam Darnold can turn his career around, Adam Gase should never get a job in football again, not just the NFL. Yeah. Football again. But I saw that throw that Wilson had on his pro day, and at that point I went, well, he's going 2 to the Jets.
Yeah.
But
and it's hard because when it's that flashy, it's hard to turn your head away from it, right?
How many times? And he's going to throw that ball. He's going to throw that play because just right after that was done. I mean, the Panthers Twitter, when they got the trade, they showed Sam Darnold roll out, make that same kind of throw.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it was the Jets too. Like, hey, our quarterback can make that throw before they traded him.
Yeah.
So I think the draft starts at 4.
Yeah.
And it's just, is it 4 because it's Kyle Pitts, or is it 4 because it's insert team moving up to get a quarterback?
Yeah, and it said it's one of those things. The only thing I said, not a Jets fan. I'm a Chargers fan. I don't care about the Jets. I used to think Rex Ryan was funny. I thought he was a good coach. Everybody can say otherwise. Whatever. Did they take Mark Sanchez way too early? Yes. Did they win playoff games? Yes. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Colts. They went to conference championships 2 years in a row. Guess what? My team can't say that for a lot of things. But I do think getting Adam Gase, who's a stooge, out of there, good. Also having Joe Douglas in there. I think Joe Douglas as a GM is gonna need the time to actually put in the work to get to the point where he can be better. But I think Joe Douglas has a chance to be really good and can really build that team now that he's got the hold of it. Because I think last year they actually had a pretty good draft. They grabbed Becton, They got draft capital for Sam Darnold, which they probably should never got that much for him. They get Denzel Mims last year. They get enough guys. I think they can build around this. Even getting Corey Davis, I think that's a good free agency pickup to be a second receiver, right? So if I'm Zach Wilson, that's the only thing I can hope on, is that Joe Douglas is that good of a GM that he can elevate the team as a whole and make it better. But